Mr. Henry was 82 years old and lived in a small town called Willow Creek. Everyone in town knew him, at least by face. He wore a neat little brown hat, a warm gray coat, and always carried a walking stick, even though he didn't really need it that much. His eyes were kind, but you could see something behind them, like an old song he couldn't quite remember. Henry had lived in Willow Creek nearly his whole life. He used to be a mailman, back when people still wrote letters by hand. People loved seeing him at their doors, not just for the letters, but for the smile he always brought. He had a soft voice and a gentle laugh that made you feel like everything was going to be okay. His wife, Margaret, had passed away 5 years ago. They were married for over 50 years. She was his whole world, and when she left, something inside him grew quiet. He didn't talk about her much, but everyone knew he missed her deeply. Every morning, Mr. Henry left his house around 9 o'clock. And every morning, he stopped someone and asked the same thing. "Excuse me," he'd say, tipping his hat. "Can you tell me how to get to Main Street?" It was odd at first. Everyone knew Mr. Henry had walked to Main Street for years. The bakery, the post office, and the little bench near the clock tower were all there, his usual spots. It was only a 10-minute walk from his house. But still, every day, he'd ask someone new. A teenager on a bike, a mother with her baby, a man walking his dog. Some folks thought he was just forgetful. Others figured he liked the conversation, but no one ever said anything about it. They just gave him the same directions with a smile. One morning, a new family had moved into the neighborhood. The daughter, 17-year-old Emily, was walking her dog when Mr. Henry stopped her. "Excuse me, young lady, could you help an old man find Main Street?" She smiled and pointed. "Of course, just down 2 blocks, then turn right." He nodded and gave her a grateful look. "Thank you kindly," but as he walked away, Emily saw something strange. He didn't look lost at all. He walked the same way he always did, like he already knew. Emily's curiosity got the best of her. The next day, she followed him quietly, just to see where he really went. It was early autumn, the leaves had just started turning gold and orange. The mornings were cool, with a little mist still in the air. School had just started again, and the town was getting ready for the annual fall festival. Emily had a break between her online classes, so she decided to walk her dog earlier. Sure enough, there he was. Mr. Henry walking down his front steps right at 9 a.m. He wore the same brown hat and coat, like always. He stopped a jogger this time. "Excuse me, can you help me find Main Street?" The jogger gave him directions. Mr. Henry thanked him with a small bow, then turned and walked exactly the way Emily had seen him go yesterday. Emily followed from a distance. He passed the corner market, the tall oak tree, and crossed at the blinking light. He didn't hesitate, didn't look around. He knew every crack in the sidewalk. He ended up at the bench near the old clock tower. He sat there quietly, looked around for a while, and then took out something from his coat pocket, a small, folded piece of paper. Emily didn't know what was on that paper, but she felt something important was happening. Have you ever seen someone do something over and over, and you just knew there was a deeper reason? Like this video, if you believe love never really leaves us. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more touching stories. Now let's go a little deeper. Willow Creek was the kind of town where people still waved at each other. The sidewalks were wide, and there were flower beds along the streets. Main Street was the heart of it all, with the bakery, the old bookstore, and a cafe where folks knew your usual order. The bench where Mr. Henry always sat was right under the clock tower. Across from it was the old fountain, where children threw pennies and made wishes. It was a quiet place, good for thinking. Next to the bench was a street sign, Margaret Lane. It had been renamed by the town council the year she died. Margaret used to help organize festivals, and always gave people directions when they were lost. She had this cheerful way of telling folks where to go, like she was guiding them with love. That's why people noticed the little strange thing Mr. Henry did. But they didn't question it, not until Emily did. She couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't about directions at all. It was about something else entirely. Emily decided to ask him. The next day, when he stopped her again with the same question, she smiled and said, "Mr. Henry, can I walk with you instead?" He paused, then smiled back. "I'd like that." As they walked, he said softly, My Margaret used to give the best directions. People would stop their cars just to ask her, even if they had GPS. Emily chuckled. She must have been special. She was, he said, eyes twinkling. We used to sit on that bench every morning. She'd sip tea, and I'd read the paper. When someone asked where Main Street was, she'd jump right in. Never let anyone feel lost. She'd give directions like she was handing them a gift. Emily looked at him. Is that why you ask people every day? He looked down, then nodded. I guess I just miss hearing her give them. So now, I hear it from others. Tears welled up in Emily's eyes, but she quickly blinked them away. She had never met Margaret, but in that moment, she felt like she had. From that day on, Emily made it a point to walk with Mr. Henry. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they just walked in silence. He still asked people for directions, but now, Emily understood why. It wasn't about finding the way, it was about holding on to a memory. She also told others. Slowly, more people began to join Mr. Henry on his walks. The barista from the cafe, the librarian, a couple of high school students. Everyone took turns walking him to Main Street, and when he asked for directions, they smiled and answered with the same cheer Margaret used to have. The town, without even realizing it, had started keeping her memory alive. And Mr. Henry, he started smiling more, laughing a little louder. He still missed his wife, but now, the town helped carry that love with him. Then came a day that no one expected, one that would change things forever. One morning, Mr. Henry didn't come out at 9 a.m. Emily waited, 10 minutes, 20, an hour. Still no sign. She knocked on his door, but no one answered. Later that day, the news spread. Mr. Henry had passed away in his sleep, peacefully, holding a photo of Margaret. The whole town was heartbroken. Flowers filled his front porch. The bench by the clock tower became a memorial. But one thing stood out most, a note found inside his coat pocket. It read, "If you're reading this, then I've finally found my way back to her. Thank you for helping me feel close to her every day. I wasn't lost, I was just remembering the way love feels." Tears flowed freely, but they weren't just sad tears, they were full of love, too. Sometimes people do small things over and over, and we don't always understand why. But love has its own way of showing up, even in something as simple as asking for directions. Mr. Henry wasn't lost. He knew the streets of Willow Creek better than anyone. What he missed was connection. What he longed for was the sound of his wife's voice, in the voices of others. And thanks to a caring community and a curious teenage girl, he got to relive that feeling every single day. In the end, he didn't need to know the way to Main Street. He just needed to feel like she was walking beside him one more time. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button. Comment below if you've ever loved someone so deeply that little things brought them back to you. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful emotional stories that stay with you long after they end.